Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is David Cox, and I'm the host of the New America Movement. And we're so glad to have you on the show today because we've got an exciting time to be able to share with you something that's become very, very popular in the media, and that is Roe versus Wade being overturned. Now, I'm 63 years old, and I would never thought that I'd live to see the day that that would actually happen, but it has happened. And we live in a new era and a new day where the right is standing up for kids, standing up for infants, standing up for fetuses, whatever you want to call them. I'm just glad and I'm just excited. We've got a great Supreme Court that's doing their job for the American people. And I saw statistics the other day, Jordan, and it said that 52% of the people in America were for abortion. I think that statistics has been played with a little bit because what I really think is happening is that the 52% that said they were for abortion, they were for in cases of rape and incest, things like that. But I think an overwhelming majority of people in this country think that killing babies, infants, is a crime, and Roe versus Wade being overturned is one of the greatest things America has ever done. There are people in this country that have spent their life praying and fighting for this day, and it has actually come to pass. I'm excited about it. And let me say, Jordan is my co-host. Appreciate you being on the show, Jordan. You do a great job. What are some of your thoughts on this? Because you're 30 years old. This happened before in 73, way before you were born, and now you live to see this being overturned. What are your thoughts on this? Is this a good thing, a bad thing? What do you think about this? Because it impacts the lives of a lot of people.
I mean, I definitely agree. I'm glad you brought up that the 52% you really believe is about rape and incest, stuff like that, because I just want to read y'all little statistics here for y'all, abortion advocates about what if someone's raped and what if a man is beating the woman and what if it's incest and all of this stuff.
But let me say, Jordan, doesn't that sound like that's coming from a people that are not well informed?
People that are uninformed or people that it's happened to. And so they did it and now they're trying to,
trying to moralize it.
To moralize it, right. So I'm going to read you these statistics. Don't get upset. This is just the facts. So 0.01%. Now, this is the percentage and the reasons. So the percent of the people getting the abortion and the reason why they're getting the abortion. 0.01%, the pregnancy resulted from an incest relationship. 0.01%. 0.15%, the woman was raped. 0.20%, the woman's life was endangered by the pregnancy. 0.98%, there was a serious fetal abnormality. 1.48%, the woman's physical health was threatened by the pregnancy. 1.88%, the woman's psychological health was threatened by the pregnancy. And the two ones that we really that make up the majority of this. 20.4%, the woman aborted for social or economic reasons. 74.9%, no reason, in parentheses, elective.
That is so powerful because, I've been hearing about abortion for almost 5 decades. And, you think about this as a woman who is in distress. She's pregnant and something has to happen because she cannot bear this child. And you just would automatically think that there was this great crisis in their lives and that, man, if I don't get this abortion, it's going to cost my life and other people's lives. But that's really not the case. Am I right or am I wrong?
No, you're absolutely right. But let me ask you this. Now that we've covered the 0.3% of the tragedies, right? The rape, the incest, now that's 0.3% of abortions. Now that that's out of the way, what do you say about the other 99.7% of abortions?
That has to be a fundamental argument we have in this country because most people think that the abortion, again, is about people in massive crisis. But these numbers are so small. I mean, they're almost non-existent. It's almost like 95% of the people that are having abortions just don't want a child, just don't want to be inconvenienced. And they're using the law as a right and a way to get them out of an inconvenience, a time in their life when they just don't want a baby. You know, Jordan, you know, you're my son. You know I love you. You don't have any doubts. But you think there are some times I didn't want to kill you? Yeah. I mean, my goodness, what daddy didn't want to kill his kid at some point? What are you doing, man? Yeah. Like, stop that. You know, so there are times when kids can become very frustrating. I know that. My daddy had 4 kids. And we were all boys, and we were always hungry, and we always need to go to the bathroom, and we always want to go outside and play. We never want to do our homework. Well, that's kids. It ran my mama crazy. And my daddy come home and spank us from time to time. And, you know, 2 days later, back at it again. Raising kids is difficult. It's not about convenience. There's never going to be a time in your life when having a baby just fits all the circumstances. Now, you know, Jordan, you tell me what you think. Do you think that, you know, you're a kid, you're 30 years old, you're not a kid, but to me, I'm a lot older, but what do you think about inconvenience? Because that drives abortions in this country. It's just inconvenient. And we need to quit saying it's a woman's right. We need to be saying it's just inconvenient to have this baby. So go with it.
So your first question about the inconvenience, it's just y'all being there. It's just an excuse. And let's just be real. Let's call a spade, can we?
Absolutely.
Can we just call that real fast? You don't care about rape, incest, none of that. You just don't want to be responsible for a baby. You're trying to moralize what you've already probably did or had a friend do or whatever. And some of y'all may have never had an abortion, but you think, you know, you're out here having babies, but you think that a woman should have the right to kill a baby, but you're not going to do it though. No one's saying life's going to be easy. No one's saying that it's going to be easy raising a child. It's the opposite. It is hard. It is one of the hardest things you will ever do in your life. But that does not give you the right to go abort the baby just because you want to. Now, in the comment section, I want y'all to comment. Let me know. Because this is literally what it comes down to. Inconvenience. Guess what? A baby's inconvenient. It is. It's going to wake up in the middle of the night. It's going to get hungry. It's going to cry. It's going to inconvenience your life. But it's still an innocent child. It is the greatest thing that you will ever do in your life, raising a child. And then you turn around and you want to say that it's not viable life, that it's not life of viability, that it can't survive on its own, so therefore it doesn't need to live. And then y'all went to the utmost extreme, to when the baby is actually born. We call that murder.
Well, here's the interesting thing. You have the left now. I listened to Al Sharpton, listened to several commentators over the weekend, and they're gaslighting the public, and they're trying to say that, oh my gracious, look what the Supreme Court has done with Roe versus Wade. Now that means that many other civil bills that have been passed are going to be taken off the table, and you're going to see now the LGBT community come up where their rights are going to be taken away. You know, how dumb can you be to make that statement? And you see this on national media, commentators, U.S. leaders making statements, gaslighting the public, trying to get people fired up and to engage what I would consider to be in very, very vocal, if not violent commentary against the public because of what Roe versus Wade has being overturned. This is only about Roe versus Wade. Yeah. It is not a landslide, Jordan, to open the door to take away the rights of the LGBT community. And to believe that, you really got to be... You got to be in the dark on some of these. So what do you think about that?
Are you talking about violence, like throwing Molotov cocktails and stuff?
Well, the left aren't violent now. You know that.
Oh, no. They would
never promote violence.
The New York Times just said the headquarters of an anti-abortion group in Madison, Wisconsin was set on fire Sunday morning in the act of vandalism that included the attempted use of a Molotov cocktail and graffiti that read, "If abortions aren't safe, then neither are you." This person tweeted, more of this. May these, and I'll just say her name, Caroline Riley. I'm sorry, you don't give me permission to say your name. I don't care. You're a baby killer, so you can kiss my butt. She says more of this, more attacks, more burning of buildings of pro-life people. She says, may these people never know a moment of peace or safety until they rot in the ground. Now, let me just say something real fast. You're talking about causing bodily harm to people who disagree with you by saying, we just want abortion to be gone. We believe in life. We believe if you get pregnant, you should have the baby. You ain't got to keep it. Give it up. If you're poor, you don't want. There's a billion ways you can do this without killing it. Plain and simple. But for you to sit there and call for violence on these places, it blows my mind, because this is why it blows my mind. This is why y'all sit there and say that these babies don't matter. That they're not viable, that they're just a thing, and the woman should have the right to choose to kill the baby or not. That's what y'all say. But what about the people in the building that you threw the Molotov cocktail at? What if somebody in there got burnt and they had to go to the hospital, and they're on their hospital bed and they're laying there and they're dying? Do you kill him? Do you just go in there without talking to anybody? Do you talk to your doctor and say, hey, guess what? This guy right here, he really isn't viable. So I know he's 30. I know he's 35. Let's just go ahead and kill him. I mean, that's the same thing.
Well, here's something I want to ask you. Now, looking at these statistics as to why people get an abortion, I want to ask you a question, and maybe the public would like to weigh in on this. Do you think that the people in America are aware that probably 95% of the people who get an abortion are only doing so because they want to get away from responsibility?
Yes.
They don't want the responsibility of raising a child, because do you think that sheds a different light on the subject? Because I think most Americans think that this is a woman in crisis, when it's really someone, according to statistics. But see, no, they just don't want to deal with the child. Okay, so we'll just kill it.
So this is the thing. That's the biggest lie ever told. For y'all to sit here and tell the world that because we're giving the states the right to do this and not the federal government, we're giving the states the right. For y'all to get on TVs and talk about how now all of a sudden gay kids won't be able to get in classrooms. Now all of a sudden these Republicans are going to go crazy and do all these other, make all these other laws and stuff like that. Nobody's even saying that. Nobody's even saying that.
Let me throw this in here too. I don't think that you're going to find anybody in leadership in America that's going to say the LGBT community doesn't have a right to exist. Even Christians will say, look, this is a republic. We don't have to agree with you, but you do have a right to exist, and you have rights. You should have the same right under the law as anyone else. So I don't know anybody in America that wants to take away the rights of anybody.
No.
What most people argue is that if I view it as a Christian as being a sin, then that's my right. Or if I say that my child should not be taught that in school, that's my right. Or that you don't have a right to force that into my lifestyle. Do what you want to do. It's, this is America.
Absolutely.
This is a republic. You can do that. But we don't want you to force it on us. I think that is the battle line that most conservatives in America would say. I don't know anybody that's trying to hatchet up or stop or take away the rights of anyone in this country. It's just about don't get in my territory. Don't cross over on my side of the street.
They say the same thing to us. That's the thing. Like, you liberals, y'all say the same thing to us. We don't want Christianity taught in school. We want teachers to actually teach about, transgender and gay and all this. Y'all say all of that, and then we say, hold on. No, they're too young. All of a sudden, it's a big ordeal where y'all talk about how kids need to start doing this. But the point of all of this is, hey, guess what? Abortion is wrong. Period.
All right, let me ask you this question.
Period.
When you think about abortion in this country, there is a lady who got involved in this. There is a lady many, many years ago who wanted to stand up and create a program called Planned Parenthood, who would give that right to people in this country to have an abortion.
Margaret Sanger,
right,
yeah.
Exactly. That's that. Now I want you to talk about her because here's the reason. A lot of people have not viewed abortion as a racist issue. And I just want to lay a foundation. You tell me if I'm wrong or not, because I can take correction. If there are 700,000 to 900,000 abortions in this country, because that's kind of where statistics lie at, low end 7, high end 9, and you have a third being minorities, blacks in this country, that's about 250,000. That's 250,000 people minimum. Could be over 300,000 people. Now, when you look at this lady who started Planned Parenthood and started bringing up ideas as to why, some things she says that I listened to that was shocking. You tell me what you think about it. She says that I think it's a sin to bring a baby up in this world in poverty or in adverse conditions. Now,
what she
that
means
sort
is,
of blows my mind for someone to make that stuff. That's a very racist statement. What do you think?
Well, what she means is in minority communities.
Right.
That's what she means when she says that.
Because 70%, of what I understand, this I could be corrected. This is my thinking from what I think I have understood from my research, that 70% of all abortion clinics are in minority areas, communities. So you're sort of targeting minorities and making it very, very easy for them to get an abortion. Now, why would you do that? Is that because you think that little black women who get pregnant should have the convenience of just getting an abortion? Well, what's your motives for that? What do you think?
So Margaret Sanger, she's bottom line, she's a racist woman. Bottom line, she wanted to kill black babies. She wanted to kill babies in general, but black babies especially. This is the point that I really want to drive home to y'all. This is the point I want to drive home. Why is it Black Lives Matter is not out in front of Planned Parenthood? Because y'all say systemic racism is holding you back. You can't get ahead because systemic racism is here. Okay. What about Planned Parenthood? Would that be systemic racism? Or would that be just a racist woman that started a huge organization and it just so happens that more African American people get abortions? Or is this systemically put in?
You know, it makes you wonder why minorities love the Democratic Party, because I've talked about this on previous shows. A lot of the policies that the left have do more to hurt and cause harm to the black community, far more than conservative views. We as conservatives are trying to say we want to get rid of abortion. Well, that would save 250,000 minimum black lives right here in America. And you say, well, how many people is that? Well, that is a average city in our country. Well, you lose that every year
from like 1973. Yeah, 19 million African American abortions,
and that is
19 million.
That's a statistic that I've heard floating around. So, that almost 19 million blacks have been killed since abortion has been made legal in this country.
Once again, I'm going to ask: do Black lives matter? They do to me. I don't want anybody. You know what I would love to see. Just you know what I would love to see the black population grow. I would love that. You know why I would love that? Because it would be we're already the most diverse country ever, like in the world, like period. But 19 million? Do you understand that none of this that we're going through today would even be a thing? Because y'all wouldn't be such a minority that it would work. It wouldn't work. But all of a sudden, you abort babies. all of a sudden you start saying, hey, I got pregnant. I don't want this baby. I'm going to go get an abortion. And don't tell me that ain't what's happening, because there are people on TikTok actually laughing, saying they're getting their 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th abortion. Guys, that is not just getting an abortion. That is legitimate. That is just birth control at that point. You're using an abortion as birth control. That's so messed up. On the doors of Planned Parenthood, it says, welcome. We'll see you again soon. How many abortions are is one woman having? My God. To have a doggone note on the thing talking about, we'll see you again soon. I mean, it blows my mind how y'all can sit here and defend this. But I want to just switch gears for a second here, because this is another topic that I think is extremely funny when it comes to my body, my choice. Because a lot of y'all women out there say it's my body, my choice. No man should tell me what to do. Men created Roe v. Wade. Can those men tell you what to do? They did. What about men can get periods? What about men can get pregnant? What about the pregnant emoji that's a man that Apple came up with? Because men can get pregnant, right? If that's the case, guess what? Men can have an opinion. You can't sit there and say, you can't have an opinion because you don't have female genitalia, and then turn around and say that men can have female genitalia. Which is it? I'm just confused. Because y'all say men have no voice in this whatsoever.
Absolutely, I agree with you. Well, it's been a great show, Jordan. Appreciate you tuning in with me on it, and we want to just encourage our people to give us a comment back on it, watch our show, share it. Appreciate you, folks. This is the New America Movement. It's been an interesting show. Let us know what you think about it. God bless you. Have a great day, and we'll see you next week.